Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, it don't work without you guys. So let's make sure we got you guys here in the house. So, getting ready to kind of cook some dinner. I need to try and get back to keto because I haven't really been on keto. I've done gotten the Rona 15, which may be the Rona 20 for me by now. And I had to kind of stop because I was having some health issues that we weren't sure what was what and who was who. So I kind of got away from keto, and my weight kind of got away from me as well too. So I'm thinking about getting back on that, but we'll figure it out. In the meantime, I am going to try and eat a little bit better. I'm going to make myself some nice grilled chicken here and throw that on a salad. And stay away from the candy, so to speak. Look, I don't want to get no flack, but that's a start. Alright? So, I got a question for y'all. Hang on, I'm almost there. I want you to imagine with me for a second here. Just imagine. Could you imagine, let me set this in the sink, put some hot water on. Could you imagine if we had a Dallas Cowboy player who was driving 100 miles an hour, not on a speedway, not on a racetrack, but on the streets of California, 100 miles an hour? Could you imagine if this Dallas Cowboy player fell asleep behind the wheel in an intersection? Now understand what we had transpire there in Atlanta. Man fell asleep in the drive-thru at Wendy's. I don't need to go any further, but I'm just pointing that out. But could you imagine if this if we had a Dallas Cowboy player who was driving 100 miles an hour, fell asleep in an intersection, woke up, hit another vehicle, and kept on driving, hit and run? Could you imagine if we had a Dallas Cowboy player who was intoxicated, driving 100 miles an hour, fall asleep at an intersection, hit another vehicle, fled the scene, and then his vehicle broke down? Could you imagine if we had a Dallas Cowboy player who was under the influence, driving 100 miles an hour, fell asleep at an intersection, I don't know why I keep saying interception, woke up, hit another vehicle, drove his broke-ass vehicle off, and then the vehicle broke down? Could you imagine if we had a Dallas Cowboy player driving under the influence 100 miles an hour, fall asleep at an intersection, wake up, hit another vehicle, drive off, the vehicle breaks down, and then fled the scene? Could you imagine if there was a Dallas Cowboy player driving under the influence, driving 100 miles an hour, fall asleep at an intersection, got it right that time, drove off, hit another vehicle, continued to drive off, vehicle breaks down, flees the scene, and the police catch him battered, bladdered, bladdered, battered, bruised, and bloody, and arrested him. Could you imagine what the sports world would be like right now if something like that were to happen with the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, they literally went crazy when Dak Prescott was working out with his guys. When Dak Prescott allegedly had a get together at his house, TMZ was posting pictures from a restaurant that wasn't where they were having the party. Could you imagine what TMZ and all of the sports world... Remember, we had people out there saying that the NFL should come down on Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott and all those guys because they were basically a menace to society. That they were putting people's lives at risk by not social distancing. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? It would be all over everything. I bet you it would even be on CNN, wouldn't it? The talking heads would be having 3-4 segments on it. They'd be talking about the wild, wild west. The Dallas Cowboys are out of control. That Jerry Jones is literally just got a whole team of just bad people, wouldn't it? Well, I guess it's a good thing that the Giants kicker isn't a Dallas Cowboy because they're really not talking about him too much. You know, you see it like on the Giants page down a little bit low. Now, could you imagine if a former Dallas Cowboy player, I'm talking about a player that maybe played last year, was arrested for rape? Could you imagine how it would be plastered all over everything? That they would be talking about it nonstop? Remember how they talked about Zeke, alleged, his ex-girlfriend or ex-whoever said what he did? Can you imagine how much talk about it? Because, see, people still talk about T.O. being a Dallas Cowboy player, even though he only played the Cowboys for 2 years. They forget that he was also a Philadelphia Eagle player. They forgot that he also played the majority of his career in San Francisco. But everybody looks at him as a Dallas Cowboy player. Some people still look at Pac-Man Jones, who was here for 1 year, as the former Dallas Cowboy player, even though he played most of his career everywhere else but Dallas. But could you imagine if a Cowboy player were arrested, or former Cowboy player were arrested for rape? How it would be all over the place. Hold on a second here. Because former Washington Redskin player Cardi Rambo got arrested for rape allegations. Not saying either of these guys are guilty of anything. I'm just saying, if somebody thought that the Dallas Cowboys had a player that was thinking about going out, drinking, and thinking about driving 100 miles an hour, and thinking about him falling asleep at the wheel, and then hitting another vehicle, and then fleeing the scene, it'd be all over the news. This is one of those cases that I remember that I don't even know how you'd even do it. But there was a linebacker that the Jets had, nicknamed Wild Man. Don't remember his whole name, but I remember he was called Wild Man. But this guy was so drunk. He blew, I want to say, a 1.6. The guy in Atlanta who was killed blew a 1. So take that one, add a third, and then some to it. That's where this guy was. But Wildman was so drunk that somehow he drove the wrong way through the Lincoln Tunnel and hit a bus. And it never really made the news. So for all those people out there that say that, the Dallas Cowboys aren't graded on a different curve, come on, man. Cowboys get more crap. Oh yeah, that herb and garlic and that mojo marinade. That's gonna be good with some feta cheese and some Greek dressing. Oh yeah. I guess this is the problem of being America's team. You get all of the crap that other teams don't. Supposedly, tonight, supposed to be on with Bad Dog. Giant fan. I can give him some crap about that. And Philly 500. Who just lost Brandon Brooks. Could be kind of fun. All right, guys. I'm going to get this in here and get my salad. And I'll see you guys later.